All right, we are live. Today we have Side Hustle Experiment with us today. He's been selling for what? How long has it been now? Has it been like 4, 5, 6 years at this point?
Probably 4 years on Amazon now.
Yeah, 4 years on Amazon, but then including the furniture flipping and like
it's 5
or so. So he's been on social media. He has a YouTube channel. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. He and Drew FBA have a podcast, so I'm sure we'll get into that as well. Also on his channel. So yeah, I was just telling John behind the scenes, I just listened to 4, 5 episodes just recently. I didn't even realize they had a podcast, but I think they have like 20, 30 of them at this point. So yeah, what's your experience been like filming those? What was the idea to get started with that?
So me and Drew have been like really good friends probably like the last year. And basically what would happen is we'd be like, oh, let's talk about sourcing. We like launched a private label, or we're going to, and just kind of failed at that. And like we would always get on the call prior to like talk to the private label guy, and we'd just talk for like an hour about all this random stuff. And then we'd be like, all right, let's talk after the call. So we literally have like a Zoom and talk for like 3 hours, and then be like, oh shit, it's like 6 o'clock, like we gotta go kind of thing. And then one day we were just like, damn, like what we talk about is kind of crazy, like maybe we could put that into a podcast, it would go well. And the idea was kind of focus on Amazon, not kind of just have, you know, we wanted to be more than Amazon. So basically like how to make money online. And the idea is that we could pretty much have any entrepreneur on it. We definitely have Amazon people on it. But the overarching thing is there is so much stuff you could learn from other people that don't run Amazon businesses that you could apply to your Amazon business. And we kind of wanted to kind of pull some of that stuff outside because we kind of saw the void in the industry where everyone has an Amazon seller on, and like we kind of have similar stories, right? We flip our first item and we kind of go through the thing. But if we kind of take some other people, a lot of the Amazon sellers that we do have on actually kind of like aren't really known, but are crushing it, or have another business that's crushing it and is doing Amazon as well and is crushing it. But what we have found out is it's a lot of work for sure, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and it's one thing that we haven't talked about. Like John was about to ask me like, what are your thoughts about this? I'm like, I'm just gonna save it for when we're actually recording. Like number one, I just like both of your guys' perspectives. You guys have both been doing Amazon for a long time. If you've been listening to the podcast, like Drew's kind of done with Amazon and has been for the last several months, but was really good at selling on Amazon, and he's moving into other businesses. I kind of like the vibe of like, at least for me, when I'm listening to podcasts and it's just Amazon's the best, like Amazon's the next biggest opportunity, and it's so pro Amazon. But like their podcast it's very much so like Amazon's great. It's a good opportunity, but like there's a whole big world out there besides Amazon. It's not just about Amazon. And so they like to talk about Amazon, but then they also like recognize there's so many other opportunities besides Amazon.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we wanted to structure it too. It's like give people like the options, because Amazon is a great opportunity. Obviously, we both sell on Amazon and do very well selling on Amazon. But we also want to be like, there's a lot of things that suck about selling on Amazon. Like this is like give the full picture. I mean, we have a whole episode like talking about our biggest losses and like how much money we actually lost on like some buys. Like Drew's lost like 20 grand on like in like one clip. Like someone stole his inventory. Go listen to the episode. It's a crazy episode. But yeah, no one talks about that. Or like I talked about like Tiger Lily Prep, like basically holding like 20 grand worth of inventory, like hostage. Like, you know, there's like stuff that happens. And while Amazon is great, like anything else, you know, there's some downsides as well that people should just kind of be aware of. We talk a lot about scaling. So, I mean, I'm sure you know, as soon as you get to a certain level, you kind of run into other problems, and it becomes, I don't want to say more risky, but there's a lot more to lose as you take more ASINs on, new brands on. You know, you almost become like a bigger target. Like the more ASINs you have, the more potential problems you have. So we just kind of try to give the fullest picture that we can possible, and then pull in other people that could give different perspectives and kind of what you could apply that to the business.
Yeah. And so like switching gears to your Amazon business, what do you think some of those roadblocks and challenges and extra risks have been for you in the past?
It's always brands, in my opinion. Like there was kind of a brand recently that basically IP'd me. I've been selling their stuff for a couple of years and basically, did the whole test buy process and like kind of went deeper. I don't really go that deep. Like deep for me is probably like 30 or 40. I like to be like very spread around for this exact.
And a real quick, like 30, 40 units deep, but like what's the buy cost? Like kind of what's the total amount of investment, do you think?
I think
because like some people will say like, oh, I did a 20 unit test buy or like I did a 10 unit test buy. And that's very different if they're like boom boxes that are like $90 buy cost versus like,
I think the buy cost for these were like 45-ish. So probably in like $2,000, which isn't like crazy, but it's not ideal to like lose $2,000 like that.
I love basically it's my favorite.
Yeah, and basically they were just like, oh yeah, like you're infringing on them. And I was like, damn, like this sucks. And then I uploaded, they were like, you have to try to upload another image. So I uploaded an image and then it fixed the problem, which is weird, but this listing is definitely going down. So I'm definitely going to sell what I have and like not get on this listing again. But it's a constant problem, especially like going into other brands when you're not sure. There was like this other brand that was doing great and then everyone caught on. And as like you test buy and then you buy more, then everyone else comes on and then the price tanks. So it's constantly this battle of just finding new brands and new products and trying. It's great when you can replenish, but replenishing also gets like very risky at some time because eventually someone's going to catch on and find out what you're doing. And then you just don't want to be too deep at that point when everyone catches on, because then you got to liquidate, and that could be painful. But yeah, that's usually probably the biggest roadblock for me is just, that. And I would say for most people, which I haven't done a great job of, is like getting help to source or to kind of just do admin work. I'm just kind of doing everything myself right now. I've had VAs in the past and it kind of hasn't really worked out, but kind of how I'm sourcing now, I'm only spending like 2-3 hours a day. And I'm just kind of hitting the goal I need to hit because I'm kind of focused on the influencer program right now as well. So between the influencer program, OA, and just, the podcast and YouTube, it's more than enough to kind of stay busy.
Yeah, exactly. And so for those who don't know, for your Amazon business, you're just buying stuff, sending it to a prep center. They're prepping and listing it for you. And then that's just how it works.
Yeah. Earlier this year, I was kind of messing around with prepping some myself, sending some to the prep center. But I was like, that's it. Like everything has to go to prep. My stress level is so much lower because like you don't have packages constantly and like boxes. Like you're saving some boxes because they could be a good potential fit, and it just like builds up. And then like before you know it, you're breaking down like 60 boxes, and you're like, why did I save these? And then you like start the whole process over again, and then and then it becomes an issue. It's like, well, did I ship it to me or did I ship it there? Man, I wanted to ship that there. It just becomes this whole issue. And then recently with like all the split shipments and stuff, I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. Like the prep center is going to have to deal with this.
Yeah. For me right now, the situation that I'm in is I do maybe like 10% FBA, but then I'm also doing FBM at my house. And so I've been doing all of the FBM like from my house. So I'm in the middle of trying to transition to a FBM prep center, which I haven't done successfully before. So we'll see how that goes. But for a while, it's going to be like, okay, like 25% of my stuff is getting sent there. And then some of my stuff is getting sent to my house. And like, I do a lot of like one-off type stuff, like somewhat replenishable one-off stuff. And so trying to make sure like, okay, like I don't have this unit at the prep center in order for me to not also send it to my house and have it listed from both places.
Right.
So I'm kind of like navigating some of that, but I feel you on the.
Like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because
how would you work the shipping address then? Because don't you have to have one shipping address, or can you do multiple?
You can have multiple shipping addresses. Yeah, just you're not supposed to have multiple SKUs on the same ASIN. That's the major issue. At a certain point, it's like you can continue to maintain a certain level, but then you almost like need help, and you need to like, I'm sure you've done some of this like soul searching, like, do I like having a team of people that I'm managing?
I don't.
Like,
that's the other
problem. Yeah, and you had the warehouse, like for those, we didn't do this whole like, what is your story at the beginning of this episode? So, but you had a bulk book operation several years ago.
Yeah,
and you
had
a
big bulk book operation. And you had employees, had a forklift, equipment, a lot of headaches, like the whole thing. And that was kind of what I liked about OA, especially OA to prep. I mean, I guess you could make the argument I do have like people working for me because like prep is like the biggest part of this. Like, so I mean, like you're ordering stuff to your house and shipping stuff out, like opening the boxes, organizing it, putting labels on stuff. Like that takes up, I would easily say if you prep yourself, I would say that probably takes up like 40 to 60% of your time would be the prep of the stuff. The ordering of the stuff is easy. It's opening it, getting recycling, getting the garbage, like all that stuff. That's where like, and then making shipments. Like I would say actually it's probably like 80% of your time is spent prepping versus sourcing, I would think.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that beginners don't understand when they come into this business and start to scale. Like at the beginning, like sourcing is 100% your biggest challenge. And like, don't get me wrong, like that's so important. But like at a certain point, you know kind of what to do to like make money with sourcing. But like if you don't have your prep and shipping dialed in, it's like suddenly you're spending like 60% of your time like listing stuff. So that's why a prep center is such a game changer. But then at the same time, it's like if you don't know how to do your own prep, I don't know, you're going to go into a prep center super naively and just like do dumb stuff and like mess. I don't know, like why do you think like a beginner shouldn't send their stuff to a prep center right off the bat? I feel like just something doesn't click and it doesn't work out. Like I've tried to tell people to do a prep center at the start and it never works out. So I don't tell people that anymore.
I think for most people, it doesn't work out because they're just too new to the business. Like you just don't understand like almost how it works. So like if you are like a good example is like kind of like the Stanley Cups or whatever. So for most of those, some of them come in boxes, some of them don't come in boxes. Some of them come and they're like dinged up, like all that kind of stuff. So like you need to know like to the prep center, like you need to give them instructions. Hey, if this comes like this, like I need you to put that in a box or don't put it in a poly bag because like I'm going to get customer complaints. Or I think one, they just don't know enough. Two, you need to be able to set up with the prep center. Like you're going to need to know how to use inventory labs or a Google Doc or integration with whatever they have. If you don't know how to set that up, like a lot of prep centers aren't going to be all about that. And then at the end of the day, I think in any business, it's important to know how to do it because like if you lose a prep center or you come up with a good opportunity and like you don't know how to ship it in, like you're at a huge disadvantage. So I feel like it's really hard for beginners to outsource something like that because you just don't know how to outsource it. It's almost like hiring a VA if you've never sourced an item. Like, how are you going to get them to like do it like correctly or give them like guidance? So I think that is like one of the biggest ones. And you don't necessarily want to rely on a prep center to kind of guide you, I guess, per se. You should be guiding them for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've had the experience, like a prep center often, like in some situations, they're just not going to communicate with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not going to respond to your email about, oh, these 5 Stanley Cups came without a box. Like if it was in some situations, it's like, just please ship my items. Like, please
right,
ship my
exactly.
items.
Yeah. And then like, you could probably be like, oh, why'd you send it to 5 warehouses? It's like, so you got to be like staying on top of stuff to make sure like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And yeah, just making sure you like understand the fees. And I think it's just really hard to do if you're just kind of like a month in, 2 months in.
And also, while we were in Miami, we were talking a bit about the influencer program. So you're around, what is it, like 2 months into that?
Yeah, I'm 2 months into it now. I really like it because I like making content. It kind of fits well exactly like what I like to do.
Real quick, can you just explain to someone who doesn't know what the influencer program is? Because I'm sure some people watching like don't even have a clue what this thing is.
Yeah, so basically what you do is you take videos. So you could use your phone and just like take a video of this, like, let's just say this microphone right here, and you kind of do like a quick video review. You don't have to show your face or anything. And then what you would do is you upload the video to Amazon. You'll tag the product like with the ASIN. And then when someone goes to buy this microphone, if they have like, they'll be, it's hard to explain. I'm only 2 months in, so like I know a bunch, but I don't know like as much as someone doing it for a year. But there could be like videos. So if you were like, hey, I wonder what this microphone looks like, or is this a good microphone? If my video pops up and you watch it and then you buy the microphone, Amazon will pay me like a commission. And it could be anywhere from like 2 to 4%. Depending on the category. And then, yeah, you just kind of do that for a bunch of items. You could just start in your house. It seems the biggest hurdle for most people is the social media component, because you will have to get approved by Amazon. So if you don't really have, I don't want to say a big social file, like I got auto approved like in a second. They're like, yep, you could do this. I have 12,000 followers on Instagram. That is probably why. But if you have a smaller following, I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people get approved with 100 Instagram followers, but like they engage on the page. I don't know. There's lots of groups and courses that are kind of like guaranteeing that you could get approved. You just kind of follow what they do. But I got auto approved. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting opportunity and I'm enjoying it so far.
And so to just share my screen and show a little bit of what it looks like on an actual Amazon page, like let's say this is an Amazon page for a thermal printer. And then if you scroll down, you'll see like videos for the project, for this product. And people say like, watch before you buy, honest review of the Dymo 450.
Yeah.
And like people have made reviews of this. And so basically like John was saying, if someone watches the video and they go buy this product or even another product, let's say they buy this and they're like, nah, I want a Zebra or I want a Roller.
Yeah.
And you still get the 1 to 4%, which is pretty cool.
That is like the cool part too. So yes, you get whatever's in the cart, I think, once they check out. And I think the cookie's good for 24 hours, maybe. I don't know.
So you just go in there and just trash it. Like, this is garbage. Do not buy this. Buy this $2,000 one instead, please.
Yeah, it's like funny, like to like kind of see that kind of stuff. And I have seen that. Like sometimes people do like comparison videos, I think they call it. And like you could be like, oh, this compared to like a Yeti. And like you say like which one you like better. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting opportunity. I don't know. Everyone's saying it's going to get super saturated and like all this other stuff. But I mean, I've been selling on Amazon for like 5 or 6 years now. And like everyone says it's saturated every year. It's just like anything else. It's like how much you put into the opportunity. Like if you put part-time work into it, you're going to get part-time results. And I do think the thing with the influencer program that I think will get most people caught up is like when I started, like if you make 10 videos and you're like, let me see what happens, you're going to quit because like you're going to make $2-3 and you're going to be like, it's not worth it. When I like decided to do it, I'm like, I'm going to make at least 500 videos and see what happens. And that's kind of what I did. And now I'm really starting to see the results of it kind of like coming to fruition. Like it's like anything else. Like it takes a while to like get paid out. Like I think for this, people are saying you get paid 60 days after. So like, it is a much longer like wait. But I guess like once you get in the cycle, like you're getting paid every month kind of from like the last 60 days. So like I actually missed my first cycle, which is kind of annoying. So I guess at the end of the month, that's when they pay you. So on February or March rather 31st, they're like, you don't have commissions to get paid out. So that wasn't a full 60 days. So like I wasn't eligible. So I got to wait to the end of this month. and then they'll pay me like what they owe me or whatever. So that's definitely an interesting part of it as well.
Yeah, but it's not like you have to wait for you have to get your money back quick enough in order for your Plum card to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not putting up any capital.
Doing this for free. I really don't think most people are like, yeah, I'm going to buy this $90 product and like review it like that. That's risk. That would be risky with this.
For sure. And it's hard to say too, like metric wise, like there's not a lot of tools / software / it's a lot of networking actually, to just be like, hey, like, what does this mean? Or like, have you experienced this? Like, it's just like a lot of networking and jumbled together information, like of what's going on with the program and kind of how it works, which I mean, I guess could be frustrating at times, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm still doing OA and everything else, but I don't know. It's just an interesting opportunity that seems to be good. But I mean, if you don't like making content or doing videos, like I was talking to someone, I was like, I love doing this. And he's like, that sounds terrible. Like, I would hate to do that. And I was like, well, there you go. Like, you keep doing OA. So yeah, I feel like you definitely have to put some time into it. It's not like I said, like you need to shoot for like a bunch of videos. But I mean, you could just kind of build it slowly too.
And so far, like how many videos have you recorded? Like how many do you have up in your storefront?
So I have I just passed 700.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so I just passed 700. I just uploaded, I think, like 80 today. That's how I got kind of like the 700. I just did like an Airbnb yesterday. That was really good. It's just kind of like a grind. That's the other thing. Like, you gotta be willing to like drive around to all these. Like, everyone. That's like the other problem. Like, here we go again with like all these marketers. They're just like, oh, like you just sit in your house and you like take these videos. It's so easy.
Yeah, for the first 100
videos.
These
guys are grinding. They're driving to Airbnbs. Like, you got to take like 100 videos. Your phone gets like filled up. You're constantly deleting shit off your phone. Like,
you're breaking into people's houses to review
like it's work for sure. And like, oh, it's passive income because once you make the video, it's the same shit as it's passive. Like, once you send all your stuff there, but like you got to keep sending stuff there. So it's like, you know the drill. Like, so I mean, yeah, I think it's a good opportunity, but I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's passive, like, oh, make money from your phone, like all that kind of scammy stuff. That will it will get people in, and most of those people aren't gonna do it, or they're gonna fall off or whatever. But like, I'm like seeing that like a ton in my Instagram feed right now. I was just like, oh, this is the easiest thing ever. I'm making $15,000. I'm not even doing anything. It's like, you're making videos every day. Like you are like, it's just like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like you did something before. Like, you could go so hard with Amazon and buy so much inventory and get it listed and then just do nothing for 3 weeks and just be like, passive income, baby. I'm making $3K a day, but like you did like 6-7K worth of work per day like last month. So like,
and then in 3 weeks when nothing's selling, you gotta source again.
It can still be like a good opportunity. And if you look, the thing I'm curious about, there's basically like 2 parts to it. There's your account needs to get approved, and then your videos need to get approved for monetization. Basically, I got the first part approved. I uploaded my 3 videos. It's been like 4 days. So eventually they'll respond.
Okay. I think it took me like 7 business days. So I think I uploaded on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah, same. I uploaded Saturday.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's not. And then eventually they got approved. Someone like posted on Instagram today, and they're like, oh, it's going to be so saturated in the next 3 months. Like, focus on.
I think I saw that post.
Yeah, and I commented on it. I was just like, and then like I looked at their Twitter, and I was like, oh, obviously, like they're like a big like private label person, like, so it's just them being like, oh, you gotta do like, they probably have a course on private label, I'm sure, that they're like trying to sell. But it's just like kind of funny. It's like, oh, there's no hurdles. It's hard. Like, I would say it's probably easier to sell on Amazon. Like, for this, you need social media. You need to make like 3 videos. And I think I took it for granted because like, oh, I just make 3 videos. It's like, I've been producing content for like 4 years now. Like, it's just natural to me. It'll be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's probably natural for you too. But like, you've never made a video before. And like, they recommend like you show your face in the first 3. and like pick something that's like, yeah, like everyone like thinks like if you don't know how to like tag ASINs, like if it's like foreign, like if Amazon is foreign to you, it's just as hard. Like it's not like
I spent like 3 hours making the videos because like I kept trying to review like really complicated items, and I thought in my head they seemed really easy to do, but like you're supposed to demonstrate it, you're supposed to have your face in the video, you're supposed to have the item in the frame for the video. So like I was gonna review like an 8-pack of pens, and I was gonna like demonstrate me writing it, and I had the camera up like this, so I have a notebook and I'm trying to like show me writing, and I'm like trying to show my face, and I'm like this, and then like and see how the pen just writes super solidly and that doesn't write solidly. Hilarious. And I'm just like, new item.
I forgot what I did. I think like a mug. Like just something that's like very like this is what the mug looks like. It's sturdy, easy to wash. Like you can put this in the dishwasher. Yeah, like something like that, or like easy to wash. Like you want to kind of just do like something that's like super common or just like easy to explain. Stay away from like supplements and knives, like anything that's like prone to like baby stuff. Like you don't want to get involved in like anything like safety, but yeah, I mean like stuff like that or something you know a lot about. That's easy. Like you probably could have done like a chessboard or something. Like, oh, I really like this chessboard. Like these are the pieces. Like it's solid. I've got a lot of other chessboards. Yada yada yada. I think they're really just looking for like someone to show them what the product looks like. I don't think anyone really cares like what you like think about it. Like for me, before Miami, I bought like new luggage, and I was like, I want to see like what's in all the pockets and stuff. And there was some guy that like went through like the luggage, like, oh, I was like, oh, this is so helpful. Like I don't care what he thinks about it. I just wanted to see like exactly what everything looked like and how big it actually was.
Yeah, and that is a legit value add.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm doing a friend in real life is doing affiliate the program influencer program with me, and he's like, why would Amazon like pay people for this? And then we both realized like, oh, like the return rate's going to go down because people actually saw the item before they purchased it, and they're
making a crap ton of money. Like when you look at what they're like I think it was Trevin's brother Cade, he generated like $1 million for Amazon, and I think they paid him out like I don't know, maybe like 50 grand or something like that. That definitely makes sense for Amazon.
The devil's advocate though is like how much of that would have been purchased anyways.
True,
but I could see a couple 100,000 coming from Cade that wouldn't have happened, like, or potentially like more than a couple hundred. I don't know.
That's true, but if it does truly reduce returns, though,
yeah,
that's probably a big because the logistics of a return for Amazon is probably pretty insane. So like that alone as just like a benefit ad is
I would pay 4% to reduce my return rate.
Yeah, and it's like some of the stuff you only get 1% on. So I think it just really depends on like what it is. And then I think like Amazon's just such a big company that I'm sure they have bigger plans for what they're going to do with these videos or how they could also like leverage them in other ways. I feel like I forgot who I was talking to, but like, you know how like the Shopify and TikTok shop, like everyone's all about like kind of live shopping. Like, I think that's what Amazon's like going. I definitely want to go to one of those. I've never been to one, but like it's everyone who has like a whatnot seems to crush it. I do not want to do one, but I'm like just curious how it works.
The people that you see with the whatnot are crushing it, and then the people who have like four people in there.
Yeah, like the 10 people I follow on Instagram that have like used social media followings are crushing it.
Like Harry Tornado crushes it, but like it seems so cool if you have like a big following and you're like up for that to just like be like, all right, guys, like we got these Bose headphones, like look at them, like they're great, like whoever wants them, and then like someone pays you like $250. It's like cool. Next, these the little thing,
little mouse,
like little headphones, just like, all right, $60. All right, now this old iPhone, blah 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 blah, like $80.
Yeah, it sounds like interesting. And then, but like for me, I guess like the logistics and then having to ship all the stuff, I'd be so mad.
Hopefully, big people like that have some kind of a shipping team, but
yeah, you would think.
But maybe not though. I mean, some of these people like also just don't like having a team like we don't.
That's the hardest part, like about that. I would definitely think that. And that's kind of like the influencer program, I guess, to think about that is I get, I don't know. I'm not going to speak to it, but like, I don't know if it would be against terms because I don't know anyone doing it. But like, I could see like a VA like uploading videos for you or something like that and tagging the products. The real issue, I think, is getting the contents. Would be getting the content to them. Like, I don't know if it'd be worth it for you to upload all the videos to like a Google Drive because it's quick. Like, you literally drag and drop it on the desktop and it uploads, and then you copy and paste the ASIN and it's tagged. Like, I don't know if that makes sense to like wait on Google to upload like 200 videos for like 2 hours. You go in this sequential order because then if they get jumbled, like you're kind of screwed. Or like the VA might not know the product or what it actually is.
Right. And like that would be helpful to like, I don't know, like if you were to like sit in time, like 50 videos, like what percentage of your time is going to that? It does seem like making the content's the harder part. And I wonder if I've heard people say that they're like, yeah, I'm just going to have an employee make all the content and upload it.
I've heard that too.
Just pay them like $30 an hour and just like make videos. But I don't know. I'd be curious how that goes.
I've heard people getting like suspended for doing stuff like that. Or I've seen like some bad videos where it's like AI. It's almost like a robot talking. I saw one today. So I'm trying to watch a lot of videos to kind of see what other people are doing. Just out of curiosity. It's usually what I'm doing sourcing for OA. As I'm coming across products, like, oh, I wonder how like someone would talk about something like this, or like just to get some ideas. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but like anything else, I feel it's like you're gonna probably start to see people, oh, got suspended for no reason, and it's like they're trying to do like this weird like someone at the conference like, oh, like what if I get like AI and this and that, and blah blah blah, chop this up. They're like, dude, you're like way over. Like, just shoot the video and tag the ASIN. That's it. Like, that's all you have to do. Like, don't make it any more complicated or anything like that.
I mean, I do understand wanting to delegate it, but at the same time, it's like you kind of do need to like have some critical thinking and be like, okay, like that's not okay. Like Amazon's not going to be down for that. That doesn't add value to them and the customer.
Right. Yeah. I think that's how you have to think about it. Like,
yeah.
Is this adding value to the customer? Like, if I just like show this and like don't say anything about it, I don't know how much value does that add, but then if I could like demonstrate it for you and like kind of show you exactly how it works, that adds a lot of value.
Yeah. And it's like, I think for me, I think when I made the first 3 videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like, I took them like really professionally. And I feel like once I get approved, I'm just going to be like pointing my phone at a bunch of stuff and be like, all right, like, look at this. Like you can put them inside, like, look, they're Bluetooth.
Yeah. And you'll get like a rhythm too. It's just like anything else. Whenever you do something for like the first time or like your first YouTube or your first podcast, like now it just feels like me and Drew are like starting to click on the podcast, and it's been like almost 20 episodes, right? But like it takes like the first couple and then you get a little better, and now it's like starting to flow. So I think that's the same thing too. And like you'll like learn stuff too. Like eventually, like if you do a toaster, like you'll have like pretty much the same pitch for every toaster, right? It's like you push it down, like this is the dial, like blah blah blah, like that's it. But like if you've never used a toaster before, right, and you watch a video and then you're like, okay, this is how they explain it, and then like you'll get like your own rhythm. So then every house you go to, it's like, oh, okay, this is how I pitch a toaster. And it just like builds on itself.
Well, that's funny. I've never thought of like, okay, like this is my SOP for toasters, reviewing them on the Instagram.
And you just like get the hang of it. And like I like watching other videos. Like a good example, like someone was like, oh, when they were reviewing these like pots and pan set or this pan, I don't even remember what it was. They're like, oh, it has a clear lid. I really like that it has a clear lid because I could see like what I'm cooking and what's going on in the frying pan. Like, oh, like that's so interesting. Like I never thought about that. So if I ever come across a pan with a lid, I'm like, oh, I love that you can like see the food when you're cooking it, and you don't have to like worry about what's going on in there. So you just like pick up on these like little intricacies and then kind of like carry it along for everything.
And so like if you were to think about where you would love to be by like, let's say Q4, we're recording this in the middle of April, like how much of your time and income would you like to come from all of your income sources?
I would say ideally probably like 50-50. I just really like doing the influencer program because I like making content. Like I enjoy that the most out of anything I do. So I mean, ideally, who knows? If I could have that 100% my income stream, I'd probably love that because like you're just making content every day and just kind of reviewing stuff. So that would be ideal. I feel like it would be great to get up to like 2,000 or 3,000 videos by the end of the year, which seems like a lot, but I did like an Airbnb yesterday. Let's just say for argument's sake, you could get 100. 100 videos from my experience seems like it would be a lot at one Airbnb. But let's just say, for example, that's the number. So you'd have to do 20 of those, right? To get 100 times 20 is 2,000. So it's like finding 20 Airbnbs and like executing on that. So I think when you like look at it that way, it's like, oh, okay, like that's probably pretty doable. By the end of the year, like you'd have to do, I don't know, 2 or 3 houses a month to kind of get that, or well, let's just say 5 on the conservative side. But yeah, I mean, I love doing OA. I like doing the influencer program, but I also don't want people to think that like the influencer program is like passive and this, like when you're not gonna, like you're gonna be driving to Airbnbs, like literally going through people's shit, like opening all their drawers, like setting up the camera, like there's a lot that's gonna go into it. And if you don't like making videos, like this is not going to be a good program for you or a good fit.
Yeah, I've never like thought in business terms like, yep, I'm going to go to 20 Airbnbs and we're going to make 2,000 videos.
Yeah, I never like thought that either. But yeah, it just kind of like clicked for me like yesterday. I was like, oh, okay, you need to do this almost like 20 more times and you could get to that number. Get it? Yeah, we'll see like how that is. But I mean, I like the program right now. It is also like super early to tell. Like, I've only been doing it 2 months. A lot of the people that are saying they're crushing it all have courses. So I mean, there's that. It's really hard to go on like 2 months worth of data. I haven't even got paid out yet, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
like the revenue's there, but you haven't been paid out yet.
Yeah, and it's also hard to like make decisions like, well, how much will you make like on your review? Obviously, it depends on like the ASIN and what's going on with it, but you know, it would be nice to have a metric like, oh, for let's just say for argument's sake, like if you have 2,000 reviews, you can almost rely that each video is going to bring in like $2 a month. Like not every video, but like a general sense. Like if you have X amount of videos, you could kind of like put $1 to $2 to it. And that would kind of, you know how when we say like, oh, if you spend 10 grand, you'll probably have 20K in sales. I kind of get a number like that or a ratio. So you can kind of have a better sense of like what you need to do. And I also don't know, like, will you get paid out on these ASINs forever, or as more people come on the listing? Like, do you like it's just so early to tell.
That's the biggest thing, because it's a big difference of like, okay, we're gonna make $2 a video for 2 months versus like the next 12 months or 24 months. Because at that point, if it's literally like 12 months and you make $24 a video, and like, let's say a video takes 5 minutes, that's $24 times 12 per hour that you're making. So 24 times 12 is what? That's a nice hourly, like self-employment wage type deal. But if it's like 4, okay, so 4 times 12, I mean, that's still good. I mean, for a lot of people, it requires no capital, no financial risk, which is amazing.
Yeah, I guess the only thing, I think, and that's like the lucrative part about it. I mean, it will all just come down to kind of like, I think with any business, like you have to like it or want to do it. I think a lot of people, that's like what everyone's like, oh, it's going to get, I think a lot of people do not want to make videos. Like they just wouldn't enjoy it. It's like kind of hard, like sometimes to like kind of take a video. You also have to remember, like you have to like add value to the customer. So if you upload some like stupid crappy video that's like not helpful, I'm doubt like Amazon's not going to like feature that. I think you just have to like think about it that way. And I think a lot of people are just like, oh, this is the easiest thing ever. Like it's like the gold rush or whatever. And I think people are going to get rich like selling the map to the gold. I feel like anything else, it's you got to put in the work. And I think a lot of people won't put in the work. Like even if they have the information, because we see that all the time.
It's probably a great thing to sell the shovel too, because it sounds amazing.
Exactly. There's like so many shovel like every day someone else like pops up in the feed. They're like, ah. And then the most interesting part about this is and it's the perfect time to be a shovel seller, because all you have is basically like your word. Because you're not really allowed to post the orange bars. Like you're not supposed to post anything like in the dashboard on social media.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Or they'll take your account. Like, yeah, if you post like your Amazon influencer dashboard, supposedly they strip away your commissions. I don't know why, but yeah, you're not supposed to post anything about it. So yeah, that's another kind of like fun caveat about it.
Yeah, so basically it's like you can just say you're making like $9,300 a month, and I just started 4 months ago, and like, oh my gosh, this has changed me and my family tree and generational wealth, and sell the house. And
yeah, and I'm not saying like the people who are selling the shovels right now. I've bought.
Well, I mean, honestly, nothing's really wrong with selling the shovel as long as you're like actually helping people. But
yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of the people that I bought courses from are, but it's also like funny because like I know some people have courses that I've heard from like some other people that they're kind of like fudging their numbers, which is always interesting.
Yeah, like you said, like you kind of have to like it in order to actually stick with anything. I feel like for me, if and when I do this, number one, I don't think it's going to be a huge priority in my business, because I just don't think it's, I don't know, maybe I'll try it for like a couple hours a week and be like, wow, I actually really like this, and like put a lot of work into it. But I do feel like I'm going to nerd out about the like, okay, this item has 1,000 sales a month at this dollar amount, and there's only 3 videos on it. Or like that, looking at that ratio of like, okay, there's no videos on this like high in demand item, instead of just like making.
Yeah, that's the hard part about it. And I don't really have like a ton of information. I think a lot of other people don't either. It's like, how, like, when do these like things have videos? Like there's like 100 videos I made that supposedly aren't showing anywhere. It's like very weird, or it's like hard to tell. Like some products look like there are no videos on it, but then like all of a sudden videos come on it. So there's just like lots of nuance. Like there's not a lot of software to like.
So maybe that's not the best strategy then.
Yeah, figure it out. The advice that people have given me has been like, just review everything, and then once you hit like 1,000 videos, you could get like a little bit more selective, or kind of see what videos are performing well for you, and maybe kind of like try to find more of that stuff, or see if there's like some rhyme or reason to why that style is doing better for you. But yeah, there's like stuff that I was like, oh, I'm not going to review this, but like reviewed it anyway. But I'm making like maybe $3 or $4 on it. But like if you loop together 100 of those, right, that's $400 a month.
Right.
So I think like, again, like, yeah, from what the data I have, it's kind of hard to tell like how long this, or like how the numbers actually work.
Interesting. And that's why it's valuable to talk to other people about this, because I could get in my little silo of like, well, look at the ratio between the velocity and the amount of videos and stuff. And then suddenly another like 9 videos come on the listing, and like, where did those come from?
Yeah. And like, that's also interesting. Like, do you get knocked off? Like, do they start? My guess is they're going to start doing like buy box rotation. Like, this is total like theory, but like if your video converts better, like they're going to show it more than the person's video who doesn't. I feel like you'll probably also get like a lot of people on there who are going to make like shitty videos just to like get a video up, and like and I feel like they'll probably weed those out. So it's just like anything else. Like you want to just do the best job you can do when kind of doing these videos, and like just make sure they're helpful. And like, I think like anything else, like you just don't want to game the system. Like you don't want to mess with Amazon, because they know everything about you. Like whether you think that or not, like they know everything about you. And like if you're gonna like screw around on their platform, like they'll eventually like ban you for life.
They're a crazy big platform, and there's a ton of opportunity, but it's like it's their sandbox as well. So
exactly, you can't mess around in their box.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, my alarm was going off. But
Oh, no.
I'm curious, for someone who is kind of at the beginning of their, maybe they have a full-time job and they like want to make some money on the side. Let's say they want to make like $500 a month. Like, how would they get started? Like, they don't even know what business model to do. What should they do?
So honestly, I would do what I did. So I started with furniture. So I would start flipping stuff in my house. So I'd like go through my house or wherever you're at, or just something you don't use or haven't used in the last 6 months, list it on Facebook Marketplace and try to sell it for whatever you could get. Because I think it's probably an unpopular answer. You probably expect, oh, like do OA or do influencer or whatever. But I think if you don't enjoy doing like a Facebook Marketplace flip, like take away like the messaging back and forth, but like, oh, like I bought this or I had this microphone for 20 and someone just gave me 40 for it. If you don't like that feeling, like you're not gonna like selling on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like when I did it, I was like, holy shit, like this is oh my God. Like, okay, like I need to buy more stuff. Like, let's go. If I was like, oh, like this is annoying, like I don't like doing this or whatever. Because I think everyone has at least like $500 to $1,000 worth of stuff in their house that they could probably sell to someone on Facebook or eBay or whatever you want to do. Facebook just seems to be the easiest and you get cash in hand. And if you like that, then I think you could start looking at Amazon, or you could just keep doing Facebook and build up like 5K and then maybe look into, I'd probably say OA.
Yeah, the interesting thing is from there, like once you've sold a couple things, you can start to be like, okay, like this is working. I got some proof of concept. Like now I'm going to make this little improvement, and then I'm going to make this little improvement. And then like maybe you start to sell on eBay instead of Facebook Marketplace once you're like, oh, like I could learn how to ship stuff. And then like you just get better and better at the skill.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do with that.
I feel like I just like the local, like kind of start small, like get your feet wet and see if you even like it before you start paying Amazon monthly and get software and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because it's like you could get really deep in the weeds and be like, I hate this.
Exactly. And you don't want to do that.
Well, John, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
So you can find me, Side Hustle Experiment, on Instagram and everywhere else. Side Hustle Experiment podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was fun. All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.